Thank you. I'm going to talk about something. I see people leaving here. I think you're going to miss the most important speech. You need to learn about something called agentic. Agentic. Does everyone know what agentic means? Am I saying it right? Who knows what agentic is? Who here owns Bitcoin? Yeah, you guys have a problem, a real serious problem. And I'm going to explain it to you very quickly. So I own 3 data centers. I'm chairman of a company called HyperScale Data. It's on the New York Stock Exchange. The symbol is GPUS. 7 years ago, I invested in power. I have access to 550 megawatts of power, and I can tell you the most disruption you're ever going to see in your lifetime is happening right now to you. Although a lot of you have gray hair, you're lucky to be older because you don't want to be the youth today. And what I'm explaining to you is very simple. And this is a stark warning. I'm telling you, I know this in real time. Anybody here who's a doctor, a lawyer, someone with specialty knowledge, you're not going to get paid anymore for knowledge. You're not. It's going to be annihilated. Doctors, lawyers, anyone with information, people who have specific knowledge bases are going to lose their edge. Agentic AI is going to destroy people that go to get a job that are PhDs, that are physicians. That is over with. And you don't believe me, I assure you, it's over. You are not going to pay for knowledge anymore. It's not going to happen. If you go to Ask ROI, which is a company I own, I'm completely biased. I'm fully invested in AI. I'm the 6th largest Bitcoin miner in the country. I own data centers. It's power, it's Bitcoin. And the funny part about it is I see people like Peter and other people up here saying that Bitcoin doesn't matter. It completely matters because what's happening is the digitalization of power and the use of power, the idea that you go to an agent and you ask it a question. Right now, if you are a white-collar worker, if AI works, you're toast. You don't exist. Now, will there be people that run AI? Of course. Will there be a radiologist that has to, for a while, be the person that makes sure that that X-ray is actually correct? There will be a time. But I'm going to give you a little bit of history about this too, because we're talking about unlocking alpha, and you're probably saying, what the heck does this have to do with unlocking alpha? And that is the rapid growth of private credit, which is something that I do. So why do I talk about private credit and AI at the same time? Because I'm a specialist. I only lend money to a certain niche part of the market. I only lend money to public companies that need capital, and I do it as a spread, right? So there's about probably, it's funny, I can't really identify the number of people that do what I do, but I believe there's probably about 40 of them. And you probably ask why, it's because there's a bifurcation of the entire market, right? There's these mega caps, or the top 1,000 companies in America, and then there's everything else that's left for dead. The small companies can't get credit, so they go public, and they get access to capital, and they need more of it. So what I do is I lend to public companies in a format that is an arbitrage between where the stock is trading, the capital they need, to a discount. And if you come see me later today, I think it's like 1:30 or something over here at I'll be speaking somewhere today. I'll make sure you guys know about it. I can explain to you how I lend to public companies. Last year I did two deals for public companies, and with a total invested capital of around $5.5 million, I made $34 million. How do I do this? Specialty lending. Why do I bring it up? Because we're all going to be specialists, right? And the part that I'm trying to emphasize is that people do not know what's coming with AI. They see it. I saw the guy who just gave the speech today, and he's using a form of AI, but we all think that AI is, I go to ChatGPT, I ask it a question, I have it make me a picture, but I'm experienced in real-time AI. For example, right now as we program Ask ROI, which is an AI program, we have chatbots. We route all those questions to Llama, to DeepMind. We route them to ChatGPT because they're built on what's called an application layer, so they have an API connection. Chat's done. Like, we all thought, wow, ChatGPT is a big deal. It's done, and that part's over with. The cost of what they call HPC compute is coming down to such a rapid rate, and it's going to proliferate what we're doing in terms of seeking alpha, trying to find alpha. It's going to be really hard to do this because the companies that are competing in this space are going to wipe out a huge portion of the people that are not, right? So I sat in the same room, sort of like you guys did a bunch of years ago. DoorDash, which was, you guys know today, is something you order on your phone. You order food. I sat with a guy who tried to convince me, and if you guys remember the days of AOL, you got mail, you know. I said, why would I want to ever put money into a company when I can just simply pick up the phone and I can call Pizza Hut and say, send me a pizza. And as you guys know, I eat lots of pizzas. You can see that, right? So it didn't make any sense to me. That investment, which I did not make, ended up being a disaster for me, right? Because I think about it all the time. $10 million would have been, what, $1 billion today? And I went back in my past and listened to myself about these things that I've missed out on that were technology driven, right? That were like, why would I need a phone for $5 a minute when I have a pager? Why would I need to get a cell phone when I can just stop and use a payphone? Right now, you can call one of our agents that are not a human. You can talk to them like they're human. You can schedule your appointment. You can schedule to see the doctor. What's coming is more remarkable than you'll ever imagine. And I don't know the outcome. I just want to say this. I have no idea what agentic means. But agentic, what it means to the economy in the sense that what happens to us in our everyday lives. Do I have a clock running? Okay, let me know when I have like less than 5 minutes. Agentic means that I can organize a workflow and I can do it without human intervention. And it's really hard for humans to think because we have egos that we are not needed. But the pace, if you guys remember Intel and Moore's Law, the idea that compute, the size of the chip would go by half the size and the compute would double. What's happening in AI is changing every single week. And we've heard this terminology about DeepSeek that issued an R1, which is called, basically it rationalizes when it asks a question, takes a little bit longer. This is the worst it's ever going to be. This is the worst AI today that you're ever going to experience. In the coming years ahead, you're not going to need to drive a car. You're not going to need to organize to pay your bills. I was thinking to myself, because those of you who know me know that I made a big bet on the Trump administration, and about half of my friends, RFK Jr. and others, are in the administration. And I was listening to them talk about the evening of the inauguration, or was it the next day? They were talking about how they're going to wipe out the IRS. So just imagine, in our lifetimes, we've all paid taxes, but imagine that that's going to go away, right? Whether it be tariffs or other ways of monetizing U.S. assets, its own sovereign wealth fund, et cetera. So if you think about it, I keep watching these commercials for H&R Block. And I ask myself, how? Like, does an entire industry get wiped out? Yes, it does. And this is happening at such a rapid rate that I think we're all kind of lucky, but I don't know the investment theme to me other than whether it's very specialized, owning real estate that people want to live in. That's why I'm such a big believer in, and by the way, I'm not selling multifamily housing. So you get to know, like, I'm not Grant Cardone, hey, invest in my fund. Although you should do that. Not his fund, but someone else's. Sorry, Grant. But you have to choose where you're going to put this capital to work because entire industries are going to get wiped out. And I know half of you right now, probably 3/4 of you, are skeptical, like, oh, well, we're going to always take pictures. We make an app right now for Ask ROI that can make a full-length movie. I don't need actors. I don't need directors. I don't need anybody. I can text and tell it what to do. Now, by the way, I wanted to play that video, but for some reason I was late and they wouldn't let me play it. So, but when it comes to the idea of how disruptive this is, it cannot be oversaid. And we see it on TV. We see like the drama of whether or not DeepSeek is cheaper, and the Chinese are still trying to stop AI. The AI will be the downfall of the Chinese government. They don't even see it. They don't see it because they're going to try to keep it. If you try to use DeepSeek, you can't even ask it a question about anything about the Chinese government. The way that transparency is happening, you won't be able to hide it. Eventually, all those citizens are going to have access to AI. There'll be ways around it, whether it be Starlink or something else. So what's happening is what? The democratization of data, where it's all going to be available. We are going to agentify the whole world. Some of it I hate, but wouldn't it be nice to agentify the fact that when I came in here today to check in, there was like 400 people in the line? Those days are going to be over with, right? And I want you to imaginize that all the workflow needs, right? So right now I'm a lawyer and I have a client that comes in and I have to do the traditional. I have a paralegal. I have other lawyers that work for me on my team. We have entire legal documents now written where you can take a knowledge base, imagine any of your own knowledge, and you can take it and upload it to a database that's your stuff, your pictures, your health history, all your finances, everything you've ever done, put it into a knowledge base, communicate it with it, and then ask it to do something for you, meaning ask it to file your tax returns, which you're not going to have to do in a couple of years, in my opinion. You're going to ask it to share this information you just got with your doctor, give you a diagnosis of what's happening, have real-time labs in your home where you can take blood and an AI agent will analyze that blood for you and tell you how your health is. All the stuff that we imagined as younger kids, all the stuff that we imagined as the Jetsons and all the stuff that's happening, this is all happening in real time and in an accelerated pace. So you're going to remember this conversation. 5 years from now, the things you're doing today will not be the same. And I don't know the answer for people who believe that that isn't going to change. It really is a challenging thing, right? Because here's the part that scared me the most. So we have a humanoid robot project with Unitree, which is a Chinese company. And humanoid robots is imagined just someone like me, except they're much skinnier, that can walk around. Oh, I know you. How you doing? I didn't know you were here today. I see you all over the place. Imagine a humanoid robot and a factory being built in Wisconsin to build humanoid robots. What can they do? Now, Elon talks about there'll be approximately 28 billion, 25 billion of these robots around over the next 20 years. I'm a really big believer in this because I see them in China. The robots are making the robots, right? We all remember telling our kids, hey, you need to be in computers, you need to be a coder, you need to learn how to code. Those days are over. Those coders are all losing their jobs. They're not going to exist. We have an agent right now that helps us code all of our language. So we have 49 programmers at Mikai, and those 49 programmers are instructed to only use AI to write that code. Anyways, I'm more dramatic about this than ever because I see it in real time. The rapid growth of private credit. Now, why does that have anything to do with what I'm talking about? Because I'm a specialist, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you, is that you're going to outsource everything in your life to an agent that's not something that's something that is unique only to a certain group of people. And private credit there's an immense growth in private credit. What is this? These are where banks are not servicing people, right? These are where relationships matter. Private credit is relationships. And I'll tell you, guys, have anybody been to any of my conferences, the Risk On conference? The R in Risk On starts off with relationships. Those are the only things that are going to matter to you. When you talk about building your business in the future, if you're dealing with stuff that's completely automated, the only thing you're going to add value to is having a relationship. And this is truly my belief. If you look at the growth of private credit and private equity, these private credit firms have relationships with the companies directly. And so the biggest banks lend to the top 1,000. There's an entire group of people where these banks are not servicing. Right now, you're going to see a lot of talk about debanking and what's happened. And this is why I'm such a fervent, believe it or not, I grew up as a Democrat, converted like 15 years ago, and never looked back, because I'm one of those people that mined Bitcoin and was shut down by 7 different banks. I was debanked by Bank of America. I was debanked by Farmers and Merchants Bank, US Bank. So bad is the banking system prior to what's happened and changing now, that when I got debanked by US Bank for mining Bitcoin, my wife's Girl Scout cookie account was shut down. Couldn't have an association with me, right? This was the what do you call it? The weaponization of what they call choke point, right? Or choke point 2.0. And what I'm telling you is this data that's happening where they were choking people out. They choked them in the way that they said, hey, if you're in marijuana, we're gonna make you use cash. We're not gonna let you into the banking system. And this is why Bitcoin became so critically important. And those of you who don't own any, I promise you, when you wake up with Bitcoin at $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, you're gonna understand how everyone was getting debanked, and how that there's a whole generation that are not us, that are our kids and our kids' kids that don't do what we do today. My daughter could care less about most of the things that I cared about. When I was a kid, it was a punishment for me to be in my room. I didn't want to be there. My mom would say, go to your room, play your, and I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be out with my friends on my bike, going out, playing baseball, playing basketball, doing whatever I could do. The current generation has no desire to do that. They have no desire to drive. They have no desire to talk to anybody. They want to text them. And agentification of what's happening with our world is happening in real time, and I don't think it's stoppable. I think there'll be a period of time where if you don't have a relationship with a human being or with a business, you have no relationship. You are basically a digital format, right? And this is why I think that Bitcoin is so critical. I'm not saying go out and put all your money in Bitcoin. That's not what I said to anybody here. I said if you don't own any, you're really missing out. And the funny is, I've heard this story the entire time. I mined 5,000 Bitcoin at $5, and I'm the moron that sold it. And I'm the moron that sold it at 2,000, and at 20,000, and at 50,000, and at 100,000. It is the digital currency of the web. It's the agentification of all these robotic, what we know as robotic instruments that are gonna happen to our lives. In less than 10 years, you're gonna have someone in your house. Healthcare is gonna be changed forever. My father just died of Alzheimer's. It cost us like $5,000 a month to take care of him and have someone take care of him in a home. And the amount of dollars we're gonna spend on our generation is gonna change, because we're gonna have, believe it or not, humanoid robots, caretakers, people that are gonna make sure that they're monitoring our family members. This is going to happen. And those of you who thought you missed out on NVIDIA, you probably did. But, I think you probably did, right? But you didn't miss out on the process, which is, I would pay very close attention to AI. I'd pay very close attention to relationships. And most of us I see in the audience are probably nearing retirement age. Not everyone, but we're like, we're a little older, so we probably think, how is this going to affect us? It's really not going to affect us as much as it's going to affect our kids and the generation after that. And you can see it kind of happening in real time. Now, I own a defense company. As I said earlier, I run a private equity firm. And I have investments in power. I also have investments in defense. I am one of the largest private manufacturers for the Israeli military in Ramal. And I own a company called Enertech that makes guidance systems and missile testing systems for the Iron Dome. The amount of business happening in the drone community, warfare, that's going to happen that's automated, it's unbelievable how this is happening. What are you waving your head for? You want me to don't talk about defense? What, Israel? What's the issue? You need me to wrap it up? Okay. I could talk about this forever. I feel like if someone says, 25 minutes. Listen, global spending is going to be a big deal around IT. The CAGR is 29% in terms of worldwide investment in artificial intelligence. I'm completely focused on this spot. The one specialty thing I can give to you is private credit. If you decide you wanted to be in my fund, it's a very simple process. We lend money to public companies. Our average duration is less than 90 days. We run what's called it's their specialty converts, their ability for us to lend to a company that has a public currency that can pay us back in their stock at a discount. It's highly volatile, high rates of return. We pay out monthly income on the 15th of every month. If you guys know me, I've done this for so long that I almost got bored with it. My family's convinced me to open up a fund to operate it. And the most important thing is that people are using these converts on a regular basis. MicroStrategies does it every day. They use it to buy Bitcoin and for people to convert out into their stock. Boeing just issued a $5 billion convertible to strengthen their balance sheet. I have a structured property meeting today at 1:30, and then tomorrow at 11:35. What I would say to you is, if you want to release high octane in terms of monthly income, you put money in the fund, you put a pro rata portion of your net worth in the fund, and you enjoy the fact that there's probably 20 of me that do this. I'm in a really specialty niche part of the business. I can describe all of what I do to you, and none of you will do it. It's an interesting thing. For 10 years straight, I always thought to myself, why would I tell anybody what I do? Because then people could go do it. But I've learned over time, it's such a specialty niche product that no one will do it anyways, right? Because we inherently don't want to sell a stock that's down. We inherently don't understand a spread product. But one of the things that Kim has motivated me to do to teach people on how to do this, so I'm willing to teach you how to do it yourself if you want to lend to public companies. If not, you can do it with me. It produces monthly income on a regular basis. You're probably saying, what does that have to do with AI? I use AI to scan, and I've downloaded the entire SEC database. I know every single company, every single public company, every single public security, and I can figure out when they need to borrow money. It's that simple. And I can figure out a spread based on their volume, their intake, their risk, what lawyers they use, do they file their 10Ks and 10Qs on time. I can figure them out with AI. And this is why I become all in, because I realized that if I didn't use AI, someone was going to smoke me, right? And people that are not using AI are getting smoked. I promise you. Gavin Newsom, whatever you want to call him. Gavin does not realize you can raise rates, you can raise minimum wage to $20, $30 an hour. All you're going to do is make it more logical that restaurants are going to become agentic, meaning you're going to use less people, they're going to become more efficient. It's happening in real time. I appreciate you guys. I know it's a little bit alarmist, but it's not alarmist for us. I'm 55 years old, so if you're my age, I mean, what do I got, 20 years left? It's going to be a fun 20 years. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I'll see you at 1:30.